Absolutely. Okay, so, oh yeah, you make it pressurized, you got boiling hot water in there, we use that for energy, don't we? We use steam for energy. Okay, so what else? What else? Name all of that, what else? Gas leakage, what's the problem with gas leakage? Okay, poisoning the air, right?
The pilot going out.
But it's actually, it's not carbon monoxide. The gas leak is not the carbon monoxide. The gas leak is asphyxiation because you're inhaling gas. Okay, it's like a direct thing. So yeah, that's that. You know, we understand the actual details or something. You know, you hear about things all the time and just take it for granted, or it is what it is. Right? But we should have a clear understanding of exactly what the details are. So yeah, if you have a gas leak, like, and it doesn't have to be a water heater, it could be a range in your kitchen, right? It could be a furnace, right? A gas leak is a gas leak. Gas leak can do more damage than just asphyxiate you because it's offsetting the air in your space, right? What else can happen? It's flammable, so it's explosive and it can start a fire. Even if it doesn't explode, it's under that kind of pressure, it can start a fire, right?
If the regulator or the thermostat goes out, you get too much hot water can be too hot. So you can scald it.
If the hot water gets too hot, you're talking about the output
Yes.
of the water.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, and it's just like you guys, you know, your shower valves and things, right? Your shower valves don't, it's not just shower valves, they're called thermal balancers, right? And they actually have restrictions on how hot they can get. When a plumber installs a shower valve, they have to set the valve so that it can't go over a certain temperature. Okay? It can't go over a certain temperature. If you want it to go hotter than, you know, like, you have to like push a button or lever in order to turn it hotter, but naturally if it doesn't, it has a daytime that stops it. Okay? But there's still a limit as to how hot you can get, even if you go beyond that daytime. Okay? So it's a big deal because scalding is an injury. So in the code, you can't allow people to get scalded. All right? In the shower.
Is that regulated on the actual shower head, or is it
No,
regulated
in the valve, in the wall. That valve can
Because you can
turn right
regulate it
knob
here
or
too,
something.
right? But you could also regulate it here on the
You
boiler.
can control the temperature here, yeah. That's always been the case.
There's another place up on.
But yeah, that point of use where somebody steps into a shower and they turn the water on.
Will we get to see that today? What that valve looks
You're
like?
not going to see a sample. What, you wanted another student to get in the shower and see what happens? With
No, but what that looks like, that valve, the temperature regulator. What do you call
No.
it?
Any valve, by law, they can only sell those. So if you walk into a Lowe's or Home Depot or something and you saw a display of a shower valve and things, it is a thermal balancer. Otherwise, you can't sell it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they don't look different like they have gauges and LED readouts and anything like that. They look the same as 30 years ago.
For example, if a faucet's water is too hot, is that because the valve is faulty, or what is it?
No, that's what you set it at here. Okay, so that'll take it. It's the idea of someone stepping into a shower. Not so much, you know, you're washing dishes at the sink or something. You have control of that. You know, not that the code won't change on that sometime soon. So, anyways, that's a tidbit about the hot water condition, right? So what else can happen? Overflow?
Earthquakes.
Overflow, actually high pressure, right? That's what the overflow has got in the water here. Too much pressure in here, we have what is called a pressure relief valve, right? It's open and it springs up like that. Pressure relief valve, and it's set at a specific temperature, and you get the right one to match your water for both this, because if the temperature gets too hot in there, right, with the tech, this will open up, and this will direct that excess pressure to leave, and there'll be a tube or pipe connected, right, to take it to a safe location, right? And so you're not gonna just have a piece of pipe sticking out like that, and then it goes off and somebody's standing there, everybody sprays in the face, okay? So this needs to actually, if it doesn't go down to the ground somewhere in a safe location, it needs to go into the wasteline system, okay? What else can happen? Say with the water, it can fall over if you don't have it strapped down, right? As we know, in
Earthquakes.
California, we have seismic strapping is the law as of about 45 years ago. Okay, you guys see those heavy bands, heavy galvanized straps that go around high and low to stabilize it. Okay. By the way, what else can happen if you have, the water leaving?
Erosion of the
Okay, it can get in the structures, right? It can get in the structures. Maybe this one isn't located in the garage or in the basement on the concrete slab floor, right? But if it's up where you have wood framing, right? Up on the floor above, or even if it's not above, maybe it's a downslope, and behind the garage is a utility room that's framing up, and it's on. Okay, so two things can happen, right? What can happen? The guy said it. Oh, the first thing. You can have mold, which is what? Yeah, but what kind of problem is that?
Toxicity?
So we call that. What does OSHA mean?
Health and safety?
It's a health hazard. Thank you. All right. But it's also a structural damage, right? We talked about the rotten wood from the water getting into the fibers of the wood and breaking it down. That's what happens. Water gets into wood and it stays in there too long, especially if it's heated, right? Warm water has the ability to actually really penetrate more, but also it's warm water, right? That creates the problem with bacteria. Warm water is life. Okay, so you have bacteria go from that warm water. And in water heaters, right, when you actually do use hot water, there's a certain temperature in the water that actually promotes bacteria. So you have to set it so that it would kill any bacteria. The temperature has to be at a level that it kills bacteria. Okay? One of the things that, a lot of people have been told in the past is like never drink hot water directly from your sink. If you get one hot water, put it in a kettle and boil it. Put cold water in the kettle and boil it. Okay? And that's why. Okay? It's not just a just because thing, it's like science. Okay? So see, there's health and there's safety issues, right? Structural, because you can rot your structure can cave in and kill somebody. All right? What else? We talked about gas before, right? We talked about gas before. We talked about gas before. What else can happen with this? Dealing with gas. Well, we already said the fire stuff. Okay. The carbon monoxide from the combustion. Carbon monoxide is a product of combustion, of burning some kind of fuel. Okay? No, no. You used carbon monoxide on the wrong thing. No, you said gas. You brought up gas. You were talking about gas, and you said leaking gas. Remember, it was leaking gas. That's not leaking gas. Okay. Okay, the combustion, right, produces carbon monoxide. Anytime you burn anything, it produces carbon monoxide, which offsets the air that you breathe, the oxygen in the air that you breathe, okay? And so it becomes toxic. This is how people die in their sleep, right? It's usually not from the gas leak because the gas will have a smell to it, an odor, and people will know that, okay? But the carbon monoxide is odorless, okay? How many of you have ever passed out and didn't smell what passed you out? Yes.
Why I'm never going back to China.
They're non-compliant with the California Code. Yeah. Okay, so it'll do you in your sleep. You know, you'll be asleep taking a shower.
I was taking a shower.
Next to the hot water heater.
That was the only hot water in the
Right. Right. So, you know, maybe the water was washing it down. Like somebody was a doctor. Yes.
Is this a pressure release valve too? Because they put this on ours, but I can't remember what it is.
No, that's an expansion.
So that carbon monoxide, we had a incident in our apartment, or when we rent, and I heard this alarm, but I couldn't figure out where it was. And it was like, gosh, it's a fire alarm. Or couldn't figure out. Walked over there, and it's one of the talking ones.
Yeah. Fire.
Yeah, and it was like carbon monoxide, evacuate now, evacuate now. And so thank God no one was in the apartment because we're getting ready for rent.
Yeah.
And thank God we had a client. Oh my God, we got sued out of it. And when the fire department came in, and I forget what the Parks Pavilion was, but it was exceedingly hot. They went in with masks to put the fans on to blow it out. It was that bad. It was like, oh, it was definitely just fatalities and like so.
That's why they're required.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people have a habit of taking the batteries out of the alarms and disconnecting the alarms because it's annoying. Not realizing that saves you. It saves lives. And that's why they're in it. And they've done it over and over again. They save lives. They get people out, keep people out. Okay?
When that happens with the water heater, is like usually because of the spark and she doesn't replace stuff like that?
The carbon monoxide?
Yeah.
No, it's usually because the flue isn't properly flued to create the chimney effect to make sure it draws all the combustion from under the hood out. However, now if you're using the high efficiency units, this is the ones that you'll see like the white PVC coming in and out. You know, one is in, one is out. Well, it has no connection with the air within the building. So it's a direct line to the outside, and then the makeup air, which is the air that breathes in so you can have combustion, is also a closed system pipe to bring it in, so the air comes from the outside, it's burned, and then it goes out of the building to ventilate.
Is that on that one?
And that happens also in the high efficiency tankless heater. You'll see the double 3-inch, you know, white PVC plastic pipes, right? They go in and out of the building. Okay? So those are more safe. All right? Now, oh, and one thing too is that, you know, in your different areas in the building, you know, whether it be where you have water heaters, where you have washing machines or whatever, you can actually, I think I mentioned this before, you can actually install water sensors that rest on the floor and connect to an automatic valve that supplies your appliances. So if it senses water on the floor, it'll turn off the supply line to the appliance. So if it senses water, it says it's leaking, so it's like, let me shut up. Okay, and it stops leaking. All right, which of course can create some problems for you. Okay, especially recommended if you're like, you know, this is upstairs in a building, you know, it could be an apartment building, right, or something like that. And, you know, you have one apartment, and each apartment has its own water heater or laundry, okay? Especially if you're in a condo, right? Well, some of them, they'll be required to be in there, okay? Because you don't want to also not only tear up the building, but you won't want to also tear up your neighbor's partner because then you're responsible for the damage in the unit below you as well. Okay, so it's highly recommended in those sorts of situations. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? Okay. And of course, you guys distract me from the replay. So the hot water, the cold water will come in on the right, and the hot water exits on the left. Conventionally, it's just like your the faucets in your sinks and things, right? The supply of the cold is on the right, and the supply of the hot comes up on the left. Okay. Now, when you're feeding this thing, the cold will come in. You'll have a valve to shut off the hot water, which means it shuts off the water heater, which is the creation of the hot water. Okay, and so you also have, you know, easy disconnect pipes, right? Flexible disconnection pipes for service and for replacing them, right? Without having to replumb the thing. As I was saying before, you know, these units are built by just a handful of companies. And if you see different brands, it doesn't mean that that company name actually built the thing, right? They're just marketing it and they put their own labels. Like a lot of products, actually, a lot of products are like that, right? A few things are made, and then you know, a lot of marketing companies will sell them with their own labels. Yeah. Yeah, and how they market. So it's so many things out there. On TV, you see a lot of products that are like sold late night and stuff. That it's like, you know, they went to a big what is it?